Welcome back. Today, the city of Green Bay announcing its participation in America the Entrepreneurial Initiative. Now, this aims to make it easier for anyone who wants to start a business. Ashley Robinson showing us how that plan is already proving to be successful downtown.
One storefront on Washington Street has stood quiet since May, but now one entrepreneur is planning to bring it a little more flavor. Melanie Bradshaw Modef is the owner and founder of Kindred Scoops, a mobile ice cream business she started last year. Her dream of moving to a standalone shop almost ended before it even began.
We had deals fall through. We realized our equipment setup was a little bit prohibitive because it takes a lot of electricity and space. And so the existing options just weren't fulfilling what we needed, and they weren't designed for us just starting out, and we were really close to giving up.
But those roadblocks sparked a new co-venture under the same roof, Kindred Kitchen.
We started looking for a space and thought maybe if we find a kitchen, we can grow this into something that other people can use as well. And then they will have an easier time finding a spot to launch their own business.
Bradshaw Modef anticipates Kindred Kitchen to host up to 15 local startups, giving aspiring food vendors a place to create without the upfront cost of building a kitchen. Smoothing out that path is exactly why Mayor Eric Genrich declared Green Bay a part of the nationwide America the Entrepreneurial Initiative today. He says small businesses are downtown's lifeblood.
We have a long tradition here in the city of Green Bay of supporting our entrepreneurs, of recognizing that small businesses really are truly the backbone of our local economy here, especially within our core downtown commercial corridors.
Local leaders encourage anyone with a business idea to contact the city's economic development team to get started. In Green Bay, Ashley Robinson, Action 2 News.